Welcome everybody. Today we have this Elite Series 2 Xbox One controller that I am working on. The left bumper is intermittently not working. You have to press down hard, so it seems like it's not making good contact with the tactile button. We're going to see if we can fix that. Also, the customer complained about the right trigger. We're going to check that out as well. To get these open, it's kind of a pain. I start at the top and get a nice flat prying tool like this. I'll leave a link in the description. And you just want to slowly and easily pry the top and then around the edges. Once you get it open a little bit, I like to pry it and keep it open with a flathead screwdriver and then work around the other side. Just remember to take your time and work gently around the controller. You can easily damage the faceplate and the back shell. You definitely don't want to do that with the controller this expensive. Once you figure out where the grooves are, it becomes a lot easier to do this repair with an Elite Series 2. Again, I work my way all the way around the controller and then back up to the top and then just gently pry up while holding the controller. Don't want to break anything, but you want to feel that movement. And here you can see it's actually kind of sticking to the left right there. That's tape. It's like this very sticky tape. I don't know exactly what they use, but it's really strong. And that keeps that on there very tight. Now with these thumb grips, you actually have to twist them counterclockwise to get them off, just like a screw. They're actually screwed into the joystick. They're different than regular joysticks. You can't use an original Xbox One joystick to replace these. They need a special Elite Series joystick that you can get. I'll put a link in the description as well for those. And here I'm just showing you all the screws. There is going to be 6 T8 screws, so make sure you have your T8 bit ready. You're going to take all of those out. That'll separate the housing from the back shell. And then when we're done, you see that little white circle sticker? That is actually a screw underneath that, so we'll have to remove that. I'm not sure why they use that. I think that's like their warranty sticker on the back of a regular controller to tell if somebody's gotten into this controller. So let's remove that. We'll take off that screw, and then we'll take the controller right out of the back shell. And as I separate the controller from the housing, I notice that a black little pin-like piece falls out. And that plastic piece could be what is causing his controller to have issues. So here's the back shell. Then here is the controller housing. It doesn't seem there's to be any issues there at all. So we're going to take it apart even more and see if we can figure it out. So first we're going to take off the middle part of the left and right bumper. Those tabs just pry up and then you can just slip that right off. Takes a little bit of force, but just be careful and gentle at the same time. Then we're going to take the right bumper off, it just pries out with the tab, and the same with the left bumper. Alright, so one thing I noticed right off is that right trigger is sideways. Now it looks like it's broken, and this is something that the customer complained about, so let's take a look at it real quick. And yeah, as we can see, this trigger is literally sideways, and it fell right off as soon as I touched it. That plastic piece is actually one of the prongs that help hold it together, so that makes sense. And there's the screw. Lucky for us, it was just the trigger that was broken. The controller housing itself was not damaged at all, so we'll just have to replace that trigger. Not a huge deal. It's going to be probably about $14 or so. In here, we're just going to unclip the D-pad ring that holds the D-pad in place so it doesn't fall out or break. You can see these ones are a little bit different than the regular Xbox One rings that go with the D-pad. Not a huge deal, just make sure you have the correct one to hold it in place. For some reason, I accidentally skipped video in this. I desoldered the wires to the rumble packs and the trigger. I'm not sure why I didn't get that on film. I thought I was recording and I guess I wasn't. So we're going to take off this back motherboard, and it's just the T6 screws. It's not a security bit, so it's pretty easy to do. There's 2 of them in the corner. Then you've got these 2 wires for the Wi-Fi connectors. Just make sure you gently pry up on those connectors. I've actually broken them before, applying too much pressure. So now we just take off this back PCB, set it aside, and we're going to start unscrewing this front PCB. And we did take out the headphone jack, if you did see that just a second ago. There's actually only 4 T6 screws in the Elite Series 2. Generally with Xbox controllers there's 6, so it's kind of cool they only did 4. I'm okay with that. And just making sure everything is good. We're going to take out all the buttons. See ya. Don't need those. We're going to put brand new buttons in. Alright, so I've connected the front and back PCB connectors, and we're gonna plug it in. I want to test this left bumper while it's plugged in and everything's taken apart, see if it works. And the funny thing is, it didn't work when the controller was together, but it worked 100% perfectly fine that way. So we know that the tactile button itself is fine. There are no issues with that button. We do not need to replace that. If there was an issue, I would just have to desolder and solder on a new tactile button. But we saved a little bit of money there. We're gonna figure out if we put it back together if it works. Right here, we're just putting on the new buttons. We went with a scarlet red. The customer also has a red LED sticker, if you can see on the home button. And per usual, I will leave a link in the description for these buttons, the red scarlet that we used on this controller. I will also leave a link in the description for the LED home power buttons that we always use in our videos. Again, awesome, easy customization. Takes some time to take the controller apart and put in, but it looks amazing when we're done. So I'll let you guys know where you can get that. Now we've got everything in place. We're just gonna put in the 4 T6 screws for the front PCB, and then we're gonna attach the back PCB. I'm famous for forgetting the headphone jack before I put on the second PCB, so make sure you do that. Alright, and so we're just going to connect those wires that I was talking about earlier, those Wi-Fi connectors from one PCB to the other. Those just click in. Again, be gentle. You can break the wires and you can break the prongs that are on the motherboard, so that is not fun if you do that. That is a very tedious soldering job. Now we're just going to solder the triggers back on, and then we'll do the rumble packs. And this is a very easy soldering job, guys. If you have the beginner kit, soldering kit, I'll leave a link in the description. You can do this no problem. This doesn't require any extensive skills with soldering. It's always good to note when you're soldering back on your triggers and your rumble kits that you put them in the right place. There's a positive and negative. So your gray for your triggers, and then your black for your triggers. So you're gonna do gray on top, black on bottom. Same here, you're gonna do red on top, black on bottom. So black always goes on bottom. Just make sure that you get it in the right spots. If you don't, they won't work properly. You just have to redo it. And now that we've got everything together, it is time to put the new triggers on. This is what we've been waiting for. This was the reason the controller was broke, and the customer got a sweet deal on a complete customized button set, so we went with that. It was actually cheaper than just buying a single trigger. These just kind of pop in on the left side, or one side they pop in. The other side, you just put the screw in. There's 2 prongs on the side with the screw that you have to put in some holes. Just make sure that they're aligned correctly. If they're not, you'll feel resistance when you're screwing, so just make sure that it's correct. Take your time, don't rush it. You can actually snap the pieces off, and that defeats the purpose of repairing. Let's not do that. On the Elite Series 2, the left and right bumpers, they come with this plastic piece that lays over the tactile button. The purpose of it, I'm not quite sure. I honestly think it's just to make it feel smoother and more clicky, but I've taken them out before and they work just fine with or without them. So it's a preference. I don't know if you have a repair, maybe it's not working, take it out, see if it works. So we just put in the new ones, the red ones, and I left the original middle piece. I like to have a 2-tone when I do customizations. I think it just makes the other colors pop better. And the next step here is just to screw in the T8 screws, the 6 that we took off in the beginning of the video. Make sure that they're nice and tight. Don't over tighten them. I've actually done that and it can actually damage the controller. Again, you learn every time you do this, so just be careful, take your time, and if something doesn't feel right, just go through it again. When you put the faceplate back on, you're gonna wanna put some pressure there. You're gonna wanna hear clicks in every corners and every sides of the panels, the top, because that's the controller clicking into place with the plastic pieces. And guys, here is our finished product. The red light looks amazing. We're gonna test that left bumper. Again, working every time now, guys. I don't know what was going on with that one. And the trigger is working perfectly too, guys. Fully tested. And I think it looks amazing. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Give us a comment down below. Let us know what you think of this controller and this video. I appreciate it so much, guys. You have no idea. Guys, please check us out on Facebook as well. I'll put the social links in the description of this video.